This Max for Live device needs Max 9 to be installed as your Max for Live Max application. If you haven't done that yet, then follow the next section of this video. If you already have installed Max 9, then skip the next section and go ahead to the next one. Go to Google and just go for Cycling 74. Then you will find the download Max 9 link. Just go there. Just download the last version of it. It will start downloading. Once it's downloaded, let's proceed to install Max 9. This is the Max 9 standalone application. It has a license, but you don't need that license in order to use it with Max for Live, because once the trial period it's finished, then you will be able to keep using it as your Max for Live editor. And okay, so let's install this. So if you had a previous version, just tell it just replace, and if you don't want to replace your version, so just name it differently. Once it is installed, you need to go to the Ableton settings window, and here you will press this browse button, go to your applications folder, and then you will choose the application, the Max 9 application that you just placed in that folder when you installed it. The changes will be reflected once you will relaunch the application. So just tell it OK, and then you need to start Ableton again. Let's properly install a Max for Live device. So first, go to your home in your Finder. There's your name and a house icon. Then go to Music folder and double click. Then go to Ableton folder and double click. Find the user library there and double click. Then find your presets folder and double click. And there's three options here. Since this is an audio reactive Max for Live device, choose audio effects, and there find your Max audio effect folder and drag and drop your device here. You can create a folder for your personal organization if you want, also inside this Max audio effect, and name it as you want. I created one already, and this is where I am installing all my devices. So you can also create one, and they will be visible on your Ableton files browser. Hello and welcome. In this section, I will show you how to use Geometrum 2, this Max for Live device, for real-time visuals. First, make sure that you have already installed Max 9 and Geometrum 2 device properly. Then go to the Ableton browser, select Max for Live, and type Geometrum 2. If everything was installed correctly, you should see the name listed in here. If not, double check on the installation steps. Then select an audio track. It also can be your main track, your master track, and then you need to drag and drop it in your audio track. In the first section of the device, you'll see the render button. Click it to activate the rendering process and display the visuals. If nothing appears, it likely means that Max 9 hasn't been set up correctly. Next to it, it is the full screen button. This lets you to expand the visuals to fill your entire screen. This is ideal for use with a projector or a second monitor. If you are using a second screen, here is what I recommend. Turn off the render, then once you turn off the render, move the window to your second display, then press the full screen button and then turn the render back on. You will also see a button with a small eye icon. This toggles the window visibility. Why hide it? If you are using Siphon, hiding this window is important to avoid display conflicts. Let's talk about Siphon. When enabled, Siphon lets you send visuals to another applications such as Resolume or Touch Designer or MATHMapper. Here is how to use it. Turn on the Siphon toggle in Geometrum. Locate the external software you want to send the video. Locate Geometrum 2 under your Siphon servers. And then you can, in this case, drag and drop this server, and that's it. Your visuals are now streaming into another app. You can now apply video effects and overlay or do additional processing to the original Geometrum visuals. Back in Ableton, remember, when streaming through Siphon, it's best to hide the Geometrum window using the eye icon button. You'll notice a small monitor displaying your current frames per second. If you have a good GPU, you should see something above 30 FPS. Here I am running above 100 FPS. And the CPU usage is only 1%. Look at this. That's because Geometrum 2 runs mostly on the GPU, freeing up your CPU for Ableton. Now let's explore the shape section here. So in the upper part, you will see dials as density, zoom, and some draw mode features. So the density dial allows you to adjust the shape complexity. So the less values, you will see less elements on the screen. The zoom dial allows you to zoom in and zoom out. The line width and point size dials control thickness of size depending on your selected draw mode. To change the draw mode, open the menu that it's below and pick from options like lines, points, or others. When you choose a mode with lines or points, the size dials will become active. And then you can increase the line width or the point size. Here I am increasing the lines width, and let's try changing the point size. For example, in this mode, which is points only, and there you go. In the color sections, you can change the channel color values as red, green, or blue, and improvise with colors. This display here, it's showing the texture that you are applying to the entire shape. So you can increase the amount of greens or blues, etc. And the gradient, this circle, it's always there. It's the way it is programmed. So if you decrease the saturation, then you will have black and white visuals. And also grays. You'll also find some quick effect buttons. For example, this one here is the black and white button, and it forces grayscale mode for the entire composition. Then you have the mirror button, and you can see this mirror effect, and it's creating a symmetrical composition. The color palette button will come back to this later, since it relates to audio reactivity. And when the mirror is enabled, you can use this rotation bar to rotate the composition by 90 degrees or 180 or 270. Okay, now let's move to the section of reactivity. So this is the fun part. To activate audio reactivity, you need to press the microphone button. Once active, your visuals will respond to sound amplitude. To control how reactive it is, use the reactivity level dial. The louder the sound, the faster the visuals will turn. You can also detect transients or amplitude peaks. To do so, adjust the threshold dial in this threshold control. You will see a light when the peaks are detected. For every peak, your shape will evolve. But if you don't want peaks to trigger the evolution, just raise the threshold all the way, and then you can manually trigger the shape changes using the manual trigger button. This is great for live improvisation with a MIDI controller, for example. So every time you click this button, the shape evolves now when you want. Now let's talk about temporal reactivity. Your visuals can be synced to your Ableton BPM. In your session, activate the hard button, and then the shape evolution will occur by note values. For example, quarter notes, half notes, or whole notes, eighth notes, and so on. If you want to activate both the temporary activity and also the animation by amplitude, then just activate both modes. The microphone button for audio reactivity, and keep the temporal reactivity also activated. When temporal reactivity is activated, then you can also use the color reactivity effect. Let's see. So make sure this is activated, and then press this color palette mode, and then the red color channel will be synchronized to your note values, and you will have temporary reactive color. Now let's see how to map some of the controls to a MIDI controller. This is my MIDI controller here, and just activate the MIDI mapping button in Ableton. So you will see on purple all the controls that you can map to the MIDI controller. So let's make a quick mapping. So for example, zoom, the point size, etc. All these knobs, I am mapping this to the different knobs of my controller, except for brightness. Okay, brightness I will map it to this slider. This is very useful for me when starting or ending the show, so I just can create a fade in or fade out of the entire composition by changing the brightness. You will see that in a second. So this menu of draw modes can be also mapped, and this other switch or toggles needs to be mapped to a toggle type controller. And also this bottom, this can be mapped also to a MIDI note, for example. And also, well, most of the controllers can be mapped to controllers that gives you continuous data from 0 to 127. These switches, in my opinion, is better to map them to just regular bottoms. So okay, let's see, let's try it. So look, this is the brightness. So this is what I'm talking about. So when starting your show, you can just fade in or just fade out. I also like to make cuts with it. Let's put some music on. Let's see. And try the mapping to see if it was properly done. So, oh, this is the button for making the shape evolving. The density, zoom in and zoom out. The different colors. So everything seems to be working okay. You can change well, first activate the temporal reactivity and then change the subdivision of the shape evolution in a sort of accelerando or going slower. Cuts, brightness cuts. Okay, that's it for now. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. You can download this device and explore more for synesthetic devices. All the links are in the video description. Thank you for watching.